it's got to be answered at several levels. And the Nisargadatta sometimes use the word consciousness, and he sometimes used the word awareness. And it's easy to get, I personally don't like the word awareness as much, because awareness, particularly in the Western culture, in the human potential movement, and the psychology and all that stuff, they go like, are you aware of, and what are you aware of right now, and all of the old questions. Presupposes an aware-er and an aware-e, too. So I prefer the word consciousness, and to me, again, see, break them down. If I'm not depending upon my thoughts, feelings, emotions, associations, perceptions, etc., there's a no-state state. I become conscious of the no-state state, right? So now there's actually two again, right? I'm conscious of this no-state state, or this quiet stillness. And as the of dissolves, I'm just the consciousness. Now, if I'm not depending upon thoughts, feelings, emotions, associations, perceptions, etc., I notice the no-state state Maharaj called the I am, the non-verbal I am. I notice the stillness, the whatever you want to call it, quiet. You could say I become aware of the stillness. I'm aware that there's stillness. Again, we're two. And if we just drop the of, just awareness. So we're talking language. So at this level, and I hate to use the word level because invite to people, you have to peel them off the ceiling. Somehow they have this fantasy, there's no levels, but every Zen master and everybody, Maharaj, the people that I worked with, always are very clear that you don't treat everybody the same. Everybody is treated differently depending upon who is sitting in front of you, what they need and where they are and how to break them free. What key do you have to give them to unlock their door so they can move prior to or let go at the station that they're on, they can keep on that train. Okay. So another way of looking at it is, a deeper way of looking at it is, I'm the consciousness, so I'm not my thoughts, feelings, emotions, associations, perceptions. There's that stillness. I drop the of, I'm just the consciousness. Now, if you throw in that mix, that consciousness is not it. And this was the big defining moment for Maharaj. Consciousness is not it. Again, I think I've mentioned all the time, the only two people that I've ever heard say that or read that is Nisargadatta Maharaj and Nagarjuna in the 2nd century. Consciousness is not it. So if you realize that consciousness is a temporary state, still a station on that train, so I'm in the consciousness, knowing it's a temporary state. And then at some point, or not, the consciousness almost drifts away. And there's just like, we'll call it the big emptiness with a big E. Now, it's called the supreme witness technically, but now I'm the supreme witness, which means I'm aware of I'm the emptiness, I'm aware of the consciousness floating in the nothingness. But at that point, there's no world. There's just the emptiness and the consciousness. Now, two things have to happen at that point. One is you have to appreciate that since I'm witnessing it as a supreme language you want to use, I'm still aware of, or it's there. There's a sense of a deeper level of awareness. And the witness, supreme witness, which are kind of fused together. Once that's unfused, or just shifted around, you have the witness that's witnessing the consciousness. Awareness is almost like this lens, if you will, that has awareness of that supreme witness witnessing the consciousness. But still not me. Now, this is where the Buddhists and Maharaj, there's a little bit of a shift here. The Buddhists say it's all emptiness. Maharaj is going to say at one level, it's all consciousness. But Consciousness and emptiness are one substance. So is, like the Buddha would say, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. It's very clear that consciousness is emptiness, emptiness is consciousness. So when Maharaj is looking at prior to consciousness, he's talking about prior to consciousness, prior to emptiness. And that would be the difference. I mean, you can go on and on and on, I mean, but that's basically the difference. So there's two ways of talking about a consciousness and awareness. One is back there, where you're talking about just being the consciousness, or you can say being the awareness. And then there's the unfusion of the witness and the awareness underneath that. But I'm prior to that, in quotes, prior, there's no prior. Now, very often, here's where the issue comes in. People can be in the emptiness, with big E, and they assume that the emptiness is it. The emptiness is a station on that train. The emptiness is not it. You perceive the emptiness as it. So you think the emptiness is the absolute prior to the words absolute, but it isn't. It's your perception of the absolute prior to the word absolute. So Lakshmanji would say, when you have the desire to experience / realize / see the absolute, you can only see it at one level lower. So when you're perceiving as the witness the emptiness or the consciousness, you're not seeing the absolute. You're seeing your perception of the absolute. You can't see the absolute because there's no knower or known, no seer or seen, nothing there. There's no separate individual self or I that's going to ever get, in quotes, enlightened. It's impossible. I mean, the Buddha said no being has ever entered nirvana. Nirvana means extinction, so obviously how could a separate individual self or soul or an I enter, even know about it? I mean, it's that statement by the Buddha is, you might not necessarily be aware of your own enlightenment. So, for me, is there enlightenment? Me in quotes, or prior to the word me? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, to describe, how can you describe something which isn't? So is there an enlightenment? No. No. I think that most people can screw enlightenment as a desire for pleasure and they don't want pain. And if I get this pleasure called enlightenment, it could be blue pearl, blue lights, whatever, I'm going to be in bliss for all of eternity, and I'll always pick the right stock, and I'll always have the great relationship and the great house. And obviously you all know that's fantasy land. No, they're just both the same to me as far as linguistically. In other words, is there an enlightenment prior to the word enlightenment? Is there self-realization prior to the word self-realization? Is there an I prior to the word I? I think that's about it.